Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the World Championship Series Challenger here for our second last series of the night. And of course, let's look at our two players here going into this game. It is going to be Harstem going up against Nerchio. And, well, Todd, what can you tell us about these two players and where they've come from?
They've been around for quite a bit of time. Harstem, he used to struggle against Zerg, and then he worked really hard in the matchup, which I think makes sense here for him to go up against somebody like Nerchio, who's, again, as well, not been doing as well as he used to. So it's going to be really interesting because Nerchio, it really feels like in ZVP, is a little bit of a one-trick pony. You know, he loves his Spire and Mutas, but Harstem's very aware of that. So does Nerchio still actually use that style, and how well is Harstem prepared, and how is he going to counter it?
Oh, that's a good point. That is a good point. Harstem, for the longest time in our couple of seasons that we've had recently here in the World Championship Series, he's done well, but never really pushed on to the upper echelons of the tournament, unfortunately for him, where a lot of people in the European scene right now are expecting him to get to eventually, because everyone always touts him as one of the true Protoss talents here in the European scene. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it's supposed to be his year for a very long time, but it's never really been, though.
No. It will keep being his year until it hits, and then finally someone will proclaim, "Haha, we told you it was his year." But, yeah.
That was the best fake laugh I've ever heard.
Haha! It's the surprise laugh. It's the surprise laugh. And then, of course, Nerchio, he started out in WCS. If you think back to, you know, years past, he started out in WCS as a real strong contender.
Yeah.
But 2015... hasn't been his year, if you want to go on the other side of Harstem's. It hasn't been Nerchio's year. He has had struggles in Challenger. And for someone who sat at the top of the European scene for a long, long time, that's not acceptable for Nerchio, I think.
Last season was picked by TLO, I think, for a Challenger opponent, and got dispatched off with ease. And this time picked by Harstem there. It's funny to see like somebody who once upon a time, you know, he was, I feel, the best European and maybe foreigner with Stefano.
Yeah.
Now he's getting picked as one of the easy players that you want to play against in Challenger. He's getting picked on.
Yeah, that's...
He needs to fight back.
He does. He needs to prove himself. He needs to get back into Premier and then fight there. Because I think once you put Nerchio in a round of 32 situation, he can prevail. But he has to get past the Challenger situation that he finds himself in. Let's jump into our first game here in this best of 5. To see who is going to be moving on. I think a lot of people, you know, touted him as the gatekeeper up to the top right-hand corner. And we'll see if he can get back to his gate and hold on strong. It is Mr. Harstem playing for Team Invasion Esports. And then down to the bottom left-hand corner, we have our blue Zerg representing Team Acer. It is Nerchio who... in my mind, you know, if he was able to get back to Premier, that would be absolutely fantastic for him. But Challenge has just been his roadblock here in 2015 so far.
Much like Nanuo, actually, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely been struggling there. So all it takes is one best of 5 again. So coming into it with a lot of preparation, always going to be important. Harstem, we know him as the guy who practices a lot for this kind of match here. He knows how to go into a lot of custom games, whereas Nerchio, to me, he really strikes me as the type of guy that will play, you know, a lot of ladder, kind of give some thoughts to his match, but probably not playing nearly as many custom games as somebody like Harstem.
Well, for now, we'll see how this is going to play out. It being Iron Fortress, our first map, it means that it gives our Protoss player a little bit more discomfort, it being this map in particular. Nerchio probably feels quite comfortable here just to go up to his natural, go even maybe over toward the third very, very quickly. I don't think he suspects too much aggression from the very start here from Harstem.
Yeah, I wonder, like I said, whether we might see Nerchio here going into the Spire tech as much as we've seen from him in the past, because it's really something that you can hard counter, especially if you know that it's very likely to happen. You know, you can hide some Stargates, Roddy style. You can do a timing before he finally kicks in. Nerchio is very good at dealing with all these things, but again, being predictable in StarCraft 2 is, I feel, never a good thing.
Yeah. We saw Happy fall victim to that before, correct? So, yeah, it's something that can certainly make you stumble here in Challenger. Nerchio did fall prey to that sometimes.
Harstem is not being actually having the easiest of times against Zerg in tournaments recently. His last 5 series against Zerg, he lost 4 times to
Ouch.
Elaser, Firecake, Hyun, and Zedong. The one guy that he beat was TLO in Valencia. And actually, the last Zerg before that he beat was Nerchio in the base trade TV Hell It's About Time, which was about a month ago. So definitely, I guess, not too long ago, had some good results against Nerchio. But now, like I said, this is where it all matters the most, and preparation is going to be key.
And we're already seeing Harstem here. Go and check over towards the third base before even checking over towards any hatcheries, any spawning pool timing. So really valuing the idea of, is this a third hatchery? Is this something that I can maybe pressure a little bit?
Not seeing the gas here is a big deal.
Yeah, that's why I figured. I was wondering as to why not going in there and actually not seeing the gas. But
because it was pretty late. Maybe he thought that Lynx and the Queen will come out soon and he will lose the probe. But it's better to lose the probe and no than not. So in this case, like his wall off, there is a chance he might not be up on time. But I don't think so. Like if he really plays greedy and he plays like, you know, this cannot be happening, maybe Lynx can get in there with speed. But I do expect fully Harstem to start focusing on walling off here very soon. And look, he's even going for a sentry, which is the best thing that you can get for defense there.
Yep, all good. The top of the ramp is on lockdown, and the 2 extra gateways will be added on at the front eventually, one would usually assume here from Protoss, to then just round out this wall and make sure it's going to be a bit more sturdy, as a Ling will poke forwards, but there's not much he can do against this small task force at the front.
Nerchio going for the 3rd hatchery behind is still pretty standard. I really feel like Nerchio, like the thing that I expect here out of him is what we've seen in the past so many times. Just him going to roaches, making a bunch of them for safety, and then dropping down that spire somewhere and going for mutas, because that's what he loves. That's what he's the best at.
Yeah. I guess you've got to keep an eye on where all the overlords are going and just make sure that, you know...
I don't think he needs to hide it even.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't need to. It doesn't need to. But he's certainly been one of the more common decisions from him over other Zergs, right? He does like to play these little tricks, for sure.
You're going to sound so smart if he does it, Kailaris.
Well, yeah. I don't mind if I don't. It's okay.
Forge going down now for Harstem. A little bit of, so far, a Baguette Protoss style here with the sentries. Pretty sure he's going to be going, you know, into the 3rd base, dropping down some extra gates. Then you see Blink and +2 a lot of the time. But, I mean, we've seen Lilbo dispatch of sort of very easily yesterday with, you know, just that very solid 3rd base, a bunch of sentries, and then a timing with a lot of sentries and a lot of Blink Stalkers. So, honestly, I feel like right now this is one of the best builds that you can do, especially if you think that you're better than your opponent. It's actually pretty good against what Nerchio likes to do, which is, again, Lynx, Roaches into Mutas a lot of the time. You're going to be able to kill him pre-Mutas in quite a few of those games that you're going to try this into.
So what do you make of this? With the Hydra stand going down for Nerchio here, is this just a slight deviation from his norm to go for this kind of modeling Hydra comp?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely capable of throwing in an all-in here and there, but I feel like a lot of the time it's not really him to go for, you know, a lot of Hydralisks there and putting it all on the line with units. But look at this. He saved a lot of lava there. He's going to start 7 Hydralisks. I'm really starting to wonder how much he wants to commit to this, because he's already on 4 gases there. So maybe he just wants to be safe because he knows that some kind of, you know, sentry attack could happen. And Roaches, you know, they're pretty bad against sentries and stalkers. They just get force fielded away, whereas Hydras, they not only defend against sentries very well, they also kill the mothership core. It's also pretty obvious that a Protoss that plays like this, he's going to want to move out and try and make something happen. Like, look at the amount of gateways that Harstem's getting.
That's a lot of gateways.
This is actually a fake 3rd to some extent by Harstem.
I figure...
47 probes. You don't want to use it a lot.
No more extra income. And not too bad. Force fields will catch these Hydralisks. They're not exactly fast anyway, so they're going to end up dying off. And with these pylons now being listed down, a lot of
on the way.
Lungs are in production. And I was going to have to see how I was going to deal with this. He even pulls off the drones, realizing that this is quite the severe attack. As Harstem just going to play this out patiently. He seized himself the hive ground, which is always bad.
There is no Twilight Council on the way here. Harstem is committing a lot to this. 47 probes still. He's relying a lot on force fields, and he's actually starting to really run out. He still has a time warp and a recall available, or even double time warp if he wants to, though.
Got himself some economic damage done during this. He's gone back to making probes. He knows he's done quite a bit. He's denied some of the mining time here at the 3rd base, and he's actually going to poke away at this. He could throw around more force fields to the left-hand side. There's really not that many Hydralisks here, actually, at the moment.
Yeah, Harstem still trading pretty well, but now he's really out of force fields. and Guardian Shield. He's still got one here with his sentries, but he's got so many units that Nerchio's struggling to hold on.
Yeah, he committed to the time warp, so he's going to be committing fully to this fight. Continues to warp in some Stalkers here, and he has broken down Nerchio's defenses quite severely. Not only that, 17 workers have gone down. GG, Harstem with a very, very quick game at number 1 there. And good of you to identify, basically, that third, not really getting up and running, not that many probes over towards it, and the gateway explosion.
Yeah, he went up, I think that was 7 or 8. And, you know, if you stay on 47 probes, you're going to be able to get a lot of units. I mean, that looks ridiculous, like the amount of units that he had there with the force fields. And in the end, I think it's supposed to be, to some extent, okay to go for Hydras like this with Lynx to defend this kind of push, I think. But 2 Hydras got caught at first, and the first set of force fields was pretty good. The drone pull happened very late. And usually you can even get spines. If you get 2 or 3 spines, he's going to help so much, especially against those sentries.
I mentioned, you know, once Harstem had got onto the high ground, that is bad for the Zerg. If he's been able to kind of take that fight a little bit earlier and make sure he doesn't get up there, is that easy?
That's the thing. He didn't have enough.
So he couldn't even stop it from actually getting up onto the high ground. It's a tough position to be in for a Zerg, unfortunately. Tough position.
Another thing he could have done here, Nerchio, is just identify that this was coming. And play a lot more standard, you know, get a Roach Warren, and then as soon as you see the Protoss come out, you get a lot of Lynx, a lot of Roaches, you go for full surround, and then you have defended, or you force a recall, and then you're going to be able to do well. But in this case, Nerchio is actually one of the guys that almost never sends an Overlord in. He's from that Stefano generation. That was the first one to not do this. Not send an Overlord in your opponent's base, which back then was like, why do you do that? Like, you're taking so much risk, but he was like, well, if I don't send an Overlord in, then I don't have to remake one, and I can kind of, you know, get a good feel of what's happening by seeing the count of units that you have, which in this case, I don't think Nerchio did enough. If he had seen the sentry count rising so much, I think he would have been able to realize that an aggression was likely and was going to be very strong. So, yeah, I guess he didn't really see this coming, and in the end paid the price for it with the map loss.
So, it being Coda, the next map here in this best of 5, do you give sway to Harstem? Could he do something like that again? Or is it something that is very kind of situational because it's Iron Fortress?
I think it's a good way to open in the first map, and then in the second map, a good thing he could do is fake that he's doing the same thing, but this time actually go for Blink and +2, and Chrono Boost out probes behind it, and only be on like 5 gates. With the 3 original one and the 2 ones that you put down at your third base. Because then Nerchio will go into panic mode, get a lot of units out, and as Harstem, you just kind of sit back. The Zerg can't engage into you because then you force field him, and you pull really far ahead economically. And then once you're too far in trouble, you recall home. And then you just have too much economy, you get 10 gates of wars of Stalkers, and then you attack, and then you actually kill him.
And Nerchio has had some problems with these kinds of things in the past, unfortunately. I mean, it's no secret for a lot of people out there that Nerchio doesn't really like playing against Protoss. And
he says he doesn't.
Okay.
But when you see him play sometimes, it kind of looked like he didn't mind too much of the matchup, because he did very well at times.
Fair play. All right, well, let's get into game number 2 now, here on Coda, to get things rolling. We're almost at the conclusion here of Challenger League, as this is the second last series to figure out our last 2 spots going into Premier. As we are spawning up to the top left-hand corner, currently 1 game up. It is Invasion Esports Harstem, as our red Protoss. And down to the bottom right-hand corner, it's our blue Zerg. Representing Team Acer, it is Nerchio.
Poland's doing pretty good, actually. Mana qualified, a laser qualified, so that's 2 Polish players already, and now Nerchio has a chance to qualify. 3 players in Premier League, that's already a lot.
That'd be good. That would be good. How are France and Germany doing at the moment? I think Germany
has 4.
Yeah.
France has 2, I think. Lilbo and Marine Lord.
Oh, but they always have you. So.
And Funka.
And Funka, that's true. So
if you look at it that way, England's doing pretty okay as well.
Well, we Red Eye's not here anymore.
Yeah.
So rip the dream of the trio of Brits. It doesn't really happen too much anymore.
Kyla is using rip the dream. What does this world come to?
I know. I'm a true gangster. Well, anyway. I've already left. Oh, that's funny. So, spawning pool first for Nerchio.
You didn't introduce the players, did you?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Well.
You want me to do it a second time?
Yeah.
All right, okay,
In
great.
gangster style.
No. I can't go that much. I can't reveal my true
Starting
identity.
at the bottom right-hand side, living the thug life. It is King Arthur. These two have a little bit of history, you know, that Twitter banter and all that. So it's pretty cool to see them play there. They didn't really bring it though on Twitter, you know.
No.
Getting a little bit feisty beforehand. In the lobby, I saw a few funny comments, but other than that. And I mean, Harstem with the solid win that he got in the first map, I really feel like now he's already put fear in Nerchio's high to basically have to face this kind of build again where he's going to be attacked and take a lot of damage. So he can either play to his image or even do a similar timing. Like if he was to use the same build, it's not like this time he would be perfectly countered. I do think that Nerchio would have a better chance to hold it, but it's still going to be really strong because in the end it always comes down to the force field and how well the attack is managed.
Well, Harstem just poking on around at the front and does see the links popping out. He saw the opener.
He saw only one of the gases, didn't check the other.
Yeah, that's true.
But he walls off on time anyway by the look of things, like in the previous game.
Well, he probably also saw, I mean, the fact that there wasn't any drones going between it, I guess. So he should be okay. And unless the 100 would have mined before anyway.
That's next level, Carolars.
That would have been pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. But 2-2 over on the other side here for Harstem, so he's okay. And just slowly getting that in, but a very, very economical opener here for Harstem in terms of his mineral mining, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit surprised by the way that he walls off his ramp like they with the gate and core, but I guess he probably evaluated. You know, there is always like in practice with all that happens, he kind of determines how you're going to be doing this a lot of the time, and sometimes, you know, Protosses, they feel comfortable enough to do this down the ramp around the natural.
Link snuck in.
He's getting Mothership Core very quickly. Not sure why. Usually you do this when you want to be aggressive, but I've seen quite a few Protosses, actually more and more, just getting it early just because, I guess, you know? To kind of present a threat and have the defensive capability as well.
And the, you know, happy situation is at least it's there to fend off that Zergling, and the Zealot would have had a bit of a difficult time running around in circles and trying to clean that up. But also the creep's been started here for Nerchio, nice and quick, so at least he'll be able to push that on out towards the third base and leave himself in a bit more an easier to defend situation.
He needs to start gases, and he does now, with 2 of them just before the 6th minute there. Nerchio, we'll see if he sacrifices an Overlord now this time, because I'm pretty sure in the previous game he didn't. And I mean, the map is actually really hard to do this on.
There's a lot of space in your main base.
On Iron Fortress. Like, going to the back of the base of a Protoss with a slow Overlord is like 0 chance. You know, a Stalker is going to be warped in, he's going to get killed. So he didn't even try. Roach Warren already going down. Nerchio's really worried, because I really don't think this is an offensive Roach Warren. So he's really worried about an attack there.
Well, saying that creep spread just still going quite nicely. On the other side, the Forge has been started here for Harstem. So it's kind of going towards a similar air of what you said in your analysis of the situation. He has the options to continue over towards that third base, but there's always the potential of the fake again. And as you said, Nerchio's got to have that in the back of his mind, because it can be a very, very psychological war.
Look at this. He does it this time. Actually, he did last game, right? And he missed the Forge.
I think it was at the very back. As you said, with Iron Fortress.
The thing is, yeah, he was to... I mean, seeing the Forge wouldn't have changed anything. It's more about seeing the follow-up gateways. Yeah. And since he went for a decently quick lair, because he skipped the Roach Warren and wanted to go for Hydras, I think it's an Overseer that he had to send in. Like, the initial Overlord, it's nice if you can get it in there, spot some kind of tech, but if you see no tech, you definitely need to go for a quick Overseer to spot what's up. And in the previous game, he didn't do that. So definitely going to have to fix that there.
The Phoenix, Hallucinate Phoenix even I should say, is getting itself some intel. At least he's confirming that the third is decently saturated at the moment, but 11 roaches are on the way, so there's maybe a few drones missing from the third as he sees them all popping. If he can catch
these sentries and force a recall, there is a good chance that Harstem is going to be in a lot of trouble, because then he's not going to have photon overcharge for the defense, and you can get a lot of roaches out and, you know, kind of fight between that third and natural.
Yeah. But moving back now, realizing that those roaches were on the move. Got to be a little bit careful about that. You are right.
Mothership Core is going to spot them as well. This is great here for Harstem.
Well, he's in a good spot, very good spot. Leaving the Mothership Core there, as you say, not only to spot, but also to start working on them as well. But it does take a little while to get back there for the forward.
He's dropping down the Twilight Council this game, so he's kind of, to some extent, doing what I was talking about.
Yeah,
and, you know, playing to his image, making Nerchio worried. Nerchio is kept on a lot of drones to get these roaches.
Yeah.
He's on 52 drones to 57 probes.
I like how you basically cashed the game before it even started. So thanks for that, Todd. As we have the Robo facility about to finish up. Sorry, about to start even, I should say. And well, with that...
Donuts.
Oh, okay, catches quite a few there, actually. There's 4 or 5 in there. Continues to drop down some force fields to make sure he can stop this onslaught. And no Zergling speed, so it makes it easier for the defense here, definitely.
Hey, look at this, Nerchio behind this. He's trying to catch back up in the walker count, getting 10 of them. And actually going for all attack upgrades there. No car pace.
Wow.
Infestation pit as well going down. So I think he might just go for a quick hive to try and get vipers, but usually you get hydralisks with this.
So
oh, there we go. Hydra.
Yeah, I was going to just throw it out. +2 on Blinker started on the other side here for Harstem, who in Europe right now, he's pretty much one of the best in the biz when it comes to +2 Blink Stalkers, along with our French Protoss, of course, that did really popularize this style. Harstem adopted it in spades, so he's good with it.
In spades.
In spades.
With the amount of force fields that he has available and a recall there, this is looking very scary for Harstem. Nerchio is going to start going back there. The force fields are going to have to be thrown down very quickly. I don't know if Harstem knows that Nerchio is there. He's reacting a little bit late.
And it should be able to actually deal with that as well.
Actually, he didn't get that hatchery. I really thought he was going to be able to get that hatchery no matter what.
As we've been attacked by a huge amount of music. I'm not sure what is going on. It must be either under this. Well, there we go.
That was great. Panic at the disco.
I don't know if people could hear that on the stream, but
probably, yeah.
That was quite impressive.
Harstem is starting to have, by the way, a very scary amount of stalkers. So many gates is he on? He's got 7 in total. He's adding a few more here in the main. He's getting an immortal behind this. Here we go. It's that Lilbo-esque timing there that we saw Lilbo do very well with.
Yeah.
Nerchio getting a little bit
very
feisty.
Powerful.
Ooh, painting some force fields there. I don't think that Harstem has that. Man, look at his sentries.
If he buys time,
he hasn't been sitting back at home, so they haven't been building up on energy. He's been out on the map and force fielding a lot.
And it's potentially setting up for a counterattack, but if he buys time, those infestors are going to be out very, very soon with, and Pathogen Glands has finished. Templar Archives has gone down, likewise as the Spire. Hive is about to be done.
Oh, those infestors are going to be massive here. Nerchio, he was one of the original gangsters to use them the most and do very well with these fungals. Obviously, back then they were much stronger, but still, if he can land some good fungals on his sentries, it's going to be naked stalkers against a lot of units.
Got to be very, very careful. That's a good fungal to start things off, but where are the other infestors? He forces the recall out, and that was very, very good by Harstem to save the majority of his forces. But
this was great here for Nerchio. Really sending this back now. He's on 8 gases. He's got that Spire about to finish. If he starts a greater Spire now, he's going to be in a great position to get Broodlords and close this deal out and win the game, I think.
You did see the Hive morphing in, so at least Harstem does know that that could be a potential threat coming along. But there you go, there's that Greater Spire on the way, man. And from that point, I mean, you're going to have a lot of Blink Stalkers, you're going to have Storm, but Broodlords can sometimes not really be scared by that when they've got infestors underneath them. Not
having Colossus is going to make it really hard for Harstem to win this against Broodlords. He's going to need Tempest or Colossus. If he gets neither, he needs to attack before and make something happen. But against this army that has some infestors in it, and now in Nerchio even getting some static defense, it's going to be really hard for Harstem to make something happen. Maybe if he can pull this army out of position with the prison, but look at his Corruptors already on the way. And the Greater Spire is actually going to be spotted there by Harstem.
Yeah. And I think he might actually just have to go to it. He's trying to go for the drones already, and actually with the reinforcements that are here for Nerchio, he will be able to clean this up. Warping it over towards the 3rd base as well. Natural is going to be cleaned up pretty quickly, and just positioning himself in the middle. Storm's about to finish, but surely he would need to go with Storm very, very soon.
Yeah. He cannot wait too much longer there. Harstem is not that close to maxing out. He started charge, and he's already got the +3, remember, which is going to be... Actually, he's got +2. He never started +3. I thought he had it already, but he went for armor instead.
Not good, not good. These Stalkers are going to move forwards. Fungal attempt, but only hits 1 Stalker there as the blink count was strong.
Yeah, good job, but you need to do that 8 times more.
Yeah, a lot, because this
actually, those force fields in High Templar.
Whoa!
Oh my god!
Oh, great storms, catch a lot of those Zerglings as well as the Infestors. He could move on here and try and launch an assault as he catches 2 Infestors at the back.
This army of Nerchio is really small. Some Hydras come in from the other side, but his army split away. Landing some good fungals here is going to be really hard because he's going to hit a big chunk of Stalkers, but they're going to regenerate their shields.
Yeah, time is against Nerchio at the moment. Of course, he has still a strong army, but he's waiting for those Broodlords to morph in. They did morph in on the left-hand side. Tries to lock down some of the army with a fungal growth. Infested Terrans are going to land on the left-hand side here, and all he really has to do is divide all of this up. He's bottling a lot of it up with the force fields, but the Broodlords from the left-hand side could cause some problems. He needs to... Oh, he got throws down for a time warp.
He's not recalling, so he's going to commit to this. The Mothership is about to die.
Ambitious. Army supply, 87 against 82. Very, very close. Needs to be warping in very close as well. They're up to the left-hand side of the warped-in units. The Broodlords, he blinks under them. There's no ground units to speak of to really help them out. They're going to die off. And Harstem here, with a great decision-making and a great engagement, has been able to divide everything up. GG. Wow. Game number 2 goes to Harstem. And... he's one game away now from moving on to Premier, and once again dashing the hopes away from Nerchio, who has had a rough 2015. He was looking at this season as a positive, as, you know, to move back into Premier, and now that's on the ropes.
I thought he was in a really bad situation or position after the initial timing. Felt like he was too late, and he got there when the Infestors were already out, was forced into a recall. But then he hit that clutch timing just before Broodlords were going to come out. Only 3 of them came out during the fight, and I mean, when you have 30 Stalkers, let's just say that you're not that worried about 3 Broodlords hatching in the middle of the fight when half of the Zerg army is already dead. So Nerchio, as much as he had a lot of lockdown potential with the fungals, he took way too long to finally go into the engagement, and in the end, his army got picked apart slowly but surely. These High Templars, man, these storms.
Yeah.
They made the Zerglings vanish.
They did. I mean,
to use one of your fancy words.
Thank you. Vanish. Well, yeah, they disappeared quite quickly. That's for sure. Once you've got that heavier link composition, and the thing is that was his plan. To be honest with you, wasn't it? Because he had the melee upgrades, because he had the ranged upgrades, his composition later on was always going to have quite a lot of Zerglings for a while if they didn't die earlier in the fight, in previous fights. So worked out brilliantly for Harstem.
Done and dusted.
I guess so. I haven't said it for a long time. A long time.
You need to bring it back.
Okay, done and dusted. Yeah. And
the KLI soundboard will make its appearance someday.
One day. I'm not quite as famous for Velocity just yet. Rendered obsolete. All right. Well, Dash and Terminal, just like done and dusted, is going to be on the way here. Lovely name. D and T. We'll do what we can. Harstem currently leads 2-0 in our second last series of the night. And also, just to give you a heads up, guys, out there, as we will on Friday have the round of 32 drawing aired live at 6 p.m. Central European Summertime.
Is Apollo going to be doing it?
Apollo will be doing it.
He's the king of drawings, isn't he?
He is the king of drawings, and Apollo will indeed be doing that. So that will be aired on Friday at 6 p.m.
It takes him 48 hours to learn all the rules and do enough rehearsals, but he's the king of drawings.
Yes, yes. Basically, he spends a long time just making sure he knows, All right, let's get into it. It's going to be game at number 3. As we have Harstem 2-0 up at the moment in this best of 5. Dash and Terminal will be our next map. Quite the boisterous map, to say the least, compared to others here in the map pool at the moment, as we have spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner. Don't give me that look, Todd. It is our red Protoss. It is Harstem. And then up to the north position, we have our blue Zerg representing Team Acer. It is Nerchio, fighting for his life now, and fighting for his first Premier appearance in 2015. It's been a while.
Yeah. Nerchio really not shining at all so far in this series. You know, he got a few Infestors outlanded, 1 good fungal, forced 1 recall. That's about the only good thing that's happened to him so far in this series. He died shortly after with the follow-up attack pre-Broodlord by Harstem, and in the end that War Prism gave him so much information.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's the pedigree of Nerchio. He has always in the European scene been an absolute mainstay.
What's your pedigree?
My pedigree? I don't know, half ginger, half Brit. Anyway, so it's he's been around for so long. He's done so well in so many tournaments, but has since kind of fallen from grace, fallen from the very, very top of the roost, but is definitely looking to get back up there. Definitely.
And Harstem again piling up the ramp.
What is
exact
this?
same way as before. He's going to scout for proxy hatchery there. And we have a cheeky build here from Nerchio going for a fairly quick gas and pull. I think he wants to surprise Harstem. And I think the thing is, this counters really well what Harstem's been going for with walling off up his ramp. With this build, I think you can open speed, and a lot of the time, especially on this map, you might be able to kill the Nexus on the natural, because speed's going to finish early enough that the wall is not going to be up, or at least there's not going to be enough for the Lynx not to breach it. In which case, you kill your opponent's Nexus, you have Link speed, so you have a lot of initiative, and then you go yourself into an expansion. And I mean, best case scenario, you breach into the main, and then you win right out. But I don't think it's going to happen, because Harstem obviously is going for the wall of up his ramp.
Yep, he's been doing this time and time again, and it will help out.
He's going to scout it now. He already knows that he's in a bit of trouble. Cancels the gas. Is it going to be a Forge? Yes, Forge up the ramp. He's actually misreacting. I'm not sure.
Isn't this a huge commitment compared to like
yeah,
a
but
normal
like he's going to cancel that Nexus and I guess defend on one base for a pretty long time. Or I don't think he can defend down the ramp.
He's going to make a pylon and
oh
try
my
and make
god,
cannons.
Harstem. He's going to pull probes, I guess.
This is ambitious.
He's going to Crow Boost out a Zealot, pull probes, and try and get a cannon up at his natural. If he can do that, and then wall off up his ramp.
So one of the disaster moments surely will be if the Zealot gets surrounded, right?
Yeah,
if that happens, then it can be really, really bad. But for now, with these probes buffering, this helps that out a little bit, right?
Yeah, this might be a brilliant move because look at this. Nerchio behind this gets drones. I feel like he should have been making links against this to try and commit because then you can really break it. But right now, he's maybe not going to be committing enough to trying and killing this.
Needs to do a dance, needs to buy time here for the cannon to finish up, but so far they haven't even breached the shields. The second Zealot's here, and that makes this a whole lot easier now because one Zealot alone, but the run-up, and the block with the pylon. Great move by Harstem.
Oh my god. That was really smart there in the end by Harstem to go for this and pull it off this way. But like I said, if Nerchio had gone for more links here, I do think he would have been able to do a lot better. Maybe get a surround on that cannon and the Zealots and just kill them and then win the game.
Brilliant crisis management overall.
Yeah, but really, again, relied on Nerchio making that mistake. The Overlord was playing a little bit far out of position, but in the end, he's going to drone up behind his tech and expansion and try and slow down that mining here from Harstem at the natural.
One Zealot's going to move back towards the ramp. Make sure these Lings aren't going to run forwards. And the mineral line is being protected by these two Zealots. Ever standing guard. Oh! Gets himself a probe, though. Not too bad, but he has some room to make up still. It's still 28, 2 workers to 28.
Harstem, that was a cool defense there. Definitely gonna get a second cannon here. He's being a little bit paranoid. I remember the golden days against Nerchio on Metallopolis when he would go for like one base roach rush, and if you open Nexus, quick Nexus with Forge, you were dead.
I like the end of the wall as well that Harstem's made with the gateway, Cybernetics core down the ramp to eventually wall that off so the Lynx couldn't even run around the back.
Yeah. Cancels this. What was that, the second cannon? Or
I think it may have been, yeah. 113 minerals recovered, so it was a cannon.
So I guess he realized he wasn't going to need that, and now the wall-off's going to go down the natural. Harstem being on 34 probes to 33 drones. He's definitely, you know, hanging there very well. But he's not ahead by any means. And not sure going for the gold base here. As risky as it is, if he's left alone, he's going to be getting a lot of units out and he's going to be in a good position.
Yeah. Potentially even a necessary risk considering the position he's in. But at the moment, you know, he could have easily just taken a normal base. So, but
already having a Forge, I would have like Harstem to start his +1 earlier. But he's getting some sentry there. Maybe one more time. The Baguettes Protoss build where he goes for the third base, gets a bunch of sentries. This time let them build dump on energy, and actually this could be great to attack into that gold base because force fields, man, around that area, they're going to be pretty good. But look at how many drones are being transferred to the gold base. The Nerchio's economy is going to be ridiculous.
It is quite a lot, and he's also working on the rocks as well so that he can push the creep forwards through there and then actually use this as a reinforcement measure and reinforcement point towards a precious gold base. So very important that he does take those rocks down so he can access this easier.
Warp gets started really late this game. He's still only, like, you know, I guess 2/3 to completing it. And Nerchio behind this is getting a few more drones. I do think that he's going to be starting unit production here very soon because already having saturated the gold, you know, he's going to have enough income. He's at 1,700 income, not bad.
At least he sees that the third base is going down and saying so.
Starts burrow, actually, that's really smart. if he gets attacked like in the first game this time and he has a lot of roaches, Harstem had no detection back then. And I guess since there was Hydralisk and Lynx, it wouldn't have mattered for Nerchio to get burrow, but this time he's actually going to be going roaches.
These Lynx looped on around to realize that they didn't really want to take that fight at all. It would have been hard pressed to really do anything there before that cannon phased in.
Twilight Council is going down, so Harstem might not necessarily want to be nearly as aggressive as he was in the first map here and played maybe a little bit more like he played it in the second map. You know, just moving out like this, recalling if he gets in trouble, doing a lot of scouting with hallucination. He just saw the lair. He's going to spot the roach warren in the main, even though it was pretty obvious this time he was there. Hasn't checked the gold yet.
Oh, has he not?
Nope.
Oh, that's a bit of a shame for him.
Robo's going to go down.
But on equal economy here, Todd, are you not favoring Harstem's position?
The thing is, there's the gold. And the gold's pretty important.
Yeah, and the fourth's going down quite rapidly in a very defended position as well, because it's so far away from the Protoss.
Harstem's getting a cannon in the main mineral line. Not sure why.
Is he worried about Muta transition? Because I don't think
not yet. And it's weird.
Well,
he's in good position. There is no roach speed. If he gets some good force fields there.
And he catches a few of these units, but Burrow is still in range of that cannon, so that roach did end up dying anyway.
That was actually a lot of wasted force fields. I have to say that Harstem's force fields, for the most part, have been fairly disappointing there at times. He's not trapping enough units, if any, at all. And Nerchio, he's speedless there.
Yeah.
If Harstem had trapped a lot of roaches, he would have killed them, because he's got an observer on the way behind this.
Trying to get extra little bit of wall off going on at these rocks, knowing that he can't really deal with this with just the Mothership core alone. That's going to take quite a while. Maybe he could have tried to loop around, but the Overlord would have given him good vision for that. Photon cannon has been activated, though, and will eventually push these units away.
Spire is going to complete very soon, and here Nerchio is going to be in his comfort zone, most likely in this game.
Look at this. Those in.
He's already going into a 4th and 5th base there, Nerchio. If you let him go into 10 gases too fast, and look at this, he's already got about 1,000 gas here stacked up, so he's going to be able to start 10 mutas.
He is racking this up. He's actually gathered a lot of momentum in this game, and you know, it might have just well been down to the goal base having just propelled himself so far forward. The vision now of the goal base has been granted fully. I think he may have known about it before, slightly before, but Nerchio at the moment, there's not really much that Harstem can do to pressure him, surely.
Harstem flew above that spire earlier, but I'm not sure he actually saw it. Okay, no, this time he checked it again. And I think he should know, but he's getting a prism. Maybe to attack and reinforce into the fight. He's going to have to move out soon. And Nerchio, from now on, he's only going to be playing the base trade. Yeah. He doesn't care if he gets counterattack. He's actually happy about it, because then he flies into the main with Mutas, and he counters the 3rd base with a lot of roaches and Zerglings.
Getting himself the Mothership core, blinks forwards here with the Stalkers. He already killed off one Mutalisk even that was down towards the bottom left-hand side.
Second Spire is on the way.
Uh-oh. Okay, this could get really sticky, especially since some of those Lynx actually got on towards that Immortal at the very front. All of the army here of Harstem was very, very disjointed and is having a really difficult time of moving around from base to base.
I don't think Harstem can move out there. He needs to sit back at home, use his Stalkers to defend against the Mutas, leave the rest between his natural and 3rd base. He's got a lot of cannons on each base, so as long as he doesn't take too much damage, and look at this, he was out of position for 1 second, going to be losing 6 probes. Those are very important probes. He threw down a bunch of Stargates. If he can start using them, gets... what is this? Gets Anion Pulse Crystals and a lot of Phoenixes, he might be able to deal with these Mutas eventually, but Nerchio already being on 10 gases, he's going to have so much gas to work with that he's going to be able to go into Corruptors. And then 6 gas Protoss against 10 gas Zerg. You can make Phoenix range all you want. Corruptors plus Mutas is going to be really hard to deal with.
Yeah, very, very difficult. And Harstem...
He's going for the fights. Look at this. Nerchio overextending big time there. Oh my god, he could get counter-attacked here.
Got to be careful about doing that. You cannot be pushing too easily onto this position. I mean, he has a lot of Stalkers for all intents and purposes, and this Warp Prism has been on quite the journey.
Usually you want to find the Spire with this and snipe it, but in this case, the Spire is going to find him.
Yeah, these Mutalisks doing what they can. At least he'll drop some of the Zealots. Nope, not even. Okay, so he had the potential to, definitely, as he was overground for a little while there. But the Phoenix are going to amass.
Is being made. I'm not sure if Nerchio saw this, but
either
way, he can just pull back and get Corruptors. And he's even got too many Mutas to really worry about it just yet.
Oh, blinks forwards. Actually, the Mutas are just going to go straight for this fight with the Stalkers. Where are the Phoenix?
They're flying in there, but all the Stalkers are going to die before they even get there. And with the acceleration there, it's still going to be really hard to deal with Mutas. This is not Wings of Liberty.
And we'll just try and push it back where he can. But, oh, the turnaround. He's got to be so careful. He's got to babysit these Phoenix to no end. But now the Corruptors do begin. Also, the Fleet Beacon goes down. So, as you said, Anya Pulse Crystals will eventually begin.
Nerchio already being maxed out here. All he has to do is take a good fight, keep on remaxing. Good force fields are going to go down there. That's not a good fight.
It's really pressed up against it there. You got to be so careful. But the thing is that actually these Phoenix have gained quite the number to the point where they can continue to force the fight up until the Corruptors come in. And there's 8 of them, yes, but they're very, very slow into the fight.
More Stalkers being mobbed in. A little bit surprised. I thought he would just focus on getting more and more Phoenixes, maybe start working on a 4th base, because right now Nerchio is still on 10 gases. Zerg Flare attacks level 1 will finish. Look at this. He has a lot of minerals. What does he do? Starts a lot of spines back at home. Already thinking about the potential base trade he might have to be in. There is actually a few... It's funny because there is a bunch of transitions that you can go into here as Nerchio. If you have a lot of Mutas and your opponent is going to Phoenixes, you can drop down a Baneling Nest, get a lot of Banelings on the ground. Kill the sentries and then just blow up everything that's on the ground for the Protoss, and then you've won because you're on 5 base against 3. But instead, Nerchio is definitely more of the stubborn type, you know, that will go into more Mutas, more Corruptors, and just try to win the air battle, no matter what.
Yeah, he'll stick around on Corruptor Muta for a long, long time. Try and throw down extra cannons as well here to stave off this attack, but he's losing Phoenix after Phoenix now. The control here from Nerchio to actually have these being zoned out is fantastic with the Corruptors.
He made a bunch of spines back at home, like I think bleeding out right now.
Doing what he can.
Lower than this.
You mean these ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why they're bleeding out? Look at the poor things.
Oh, he moved the Overlords. You're right. Oh, yeah. That's not great. But at least the army at the front is still looking really, really strong.
And with Hive on the way, if Nerchio can get the 3-3 air, he's actually going to win against a lot of Phoenixes with range. There's 9 of them right now.
Yeah, the blink up from the Stalkers. They're trying to zone out the Corruptors whilst the Phoenix do the business, but he is losing a lot of Phoenix now. He's down to 7.
He's doing a really good job holding on, to be honest.
Yeah, he hasn't lost too many workers. 18 in total, but against this, he could have lost a whole lot more.
What do you think would be the best transition of Nerchio to face this army of Harstem?
To face this?
Yeah.
Oof. I mean, the thing is that...
What is Harstem lacking in this army?
AoE?
Immortals.
Yeah.
So if you go for Ultras, actually, you might be able to do really well. Like, being able to shut down that 4th base of Protoss consistently is going to be so important.
I was thinking...
If Nerchio lets that go up, the game changes completely.
I was thinking Ultras, but then the way Harstem was sitting so back in his 3 base, like just sit in between walls and never let the Ultras really get the engage they want. But then if you do that, Nerchio takes control of the whole map, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but you need to win a fight at some point, though. So you do have a point.
Well, for now, Harstem.
Oh, there's 5 cannons in the main there for Harstem, but Nerchio is just going to go for the trade, I think. He might just evacuate the gold if Harstem chooses to go for it. But no, the Phoenixes are going to fly back. The Corruptors are trying to cover them as much as possible there. The Muta is going to turn on these cannons. Going to take them down very quickly. They're on 2-2 upgrades, Skylar's, these Mutas.
The economy is just making so much difference. He keeps losing Mutas himself, yes, and they keep trading off against the Phoenix, true.
Oh, the spines bled out earlier, by the way.
Oh, they did? Oh, wow.
Look at this. They are not there anymore. He's making new ones.
Oh, dear.
They were going to be so important as well because Harstem is going to counter-attack.
Yeah, full counter-attack. Still just making Phoenix. He doesn't really have that much gas at the moment, but 26 Mutalisks against this? I think the Air Force is strong.
He's always happy to base trade, I told you. Like,
yeah.
He's going straight for you, wrecking the economy right now of Harstem completely.
Oh.
Could even get on top of the Stargates and shut the production down. Harstem does not dare attacking across the map. Even though there was just a few spines left, he realized that he's going to be taking economical damage back at home, so he's walking back there.
Yeah, he lost 2 or 3 of the Phoenix, actually, as they were popping out up towards the top and weren't really fully babysat by Harstem. So, at the moment, he's just going to kill off the rest of this down towards the bottom. And the Zealots are going to head up towards the gold base, which is pretty much mined out now. Yeah, shutting down some of the gas is going to be great, and Stalkers are going to have to hold on, but it's very, very difficult against this. There's no mobility. Every single time the Stalkers want to move around, it's so choked up by buildings.
He's actually going to go for the Fleet Beacon, I think. Nerchio does that. He's just flying around. 44 probes died not too long ago. Only 2 drones across the map. Burrowing the drones there from Nerchio, a nice move. He can actually send these to the natural because he's got no... It's funny how the natural and 3rd base of Nerchio there, they've got no drones.
Natural, 3rd, natural.
Yeah, the top left-hand side one. Yeah, no drones on the minerals. Zealots being sacrificed.
Losing Phoenix to
Nerchio pulled back, so he might actually have to fight there. 81 army supply to 70. There might be enough Stalkers.
It doesn't have minerals, really.
It's 24 Stalkers to 23 Mutas, but there is 4 Phoenixes in support, and on the other side there is 10 Corruptors in support.
And the Corruptors, once they have done their job, really, they're kind of useless, but...
Harstem is finally going to be able to get a 4th base, so this is far from over there. Carapace level 3 is on the way, but he never started Zerg Flyer attacks level 3, though.
The Phoenix still trying desperately to dance against this, but it's very, very difficult. Likewise, the Stalkers trying to come back, but again, look how choked up they are in these small pockets. It's very difficult to get back and protect the infrastructure of this main base.
I mean, Harstem being able to secure a 4th base is a game changer. Nerchio should have been focusing on that. He should have been trading all the time. Letting these spines bleed out was such a big deal in the end, because then he couldn't move them to the natural, and that's the one base that was getting breached for a very long time. And Nerchio even forgot about the drones that he had on the gold base.
3 Corruptors, got a few, which is nice.
Down to 7 Corruptors.
Yeah, he's actually having to replenish a few at the moment. He would much rather just have a lot of Mutalisks and have those 10 stick around, because technically they can do for quite a while against these Phoenix. But
these Phoenixes don't have the greatest upgrades, by the way, just +1. Actually, the Stalkers as well only have +1. I thought they had +2 for sure. Nice. That is very low upgrades.
Whoa, he's actually taking the engagement straight up here. And
Nerchio is starting to have way too much, though.
Yeah. It really was a case of the power economy that he had behind all of this. The trades, if we look at the resources lost, quite even, but Nerchio has just mined so much more. So much more.
Yeah, Harstem down to 33 probes to 67 drones there. Nerchio still forgetting about the drones that he had at the gold base, but he actually saturated the top left-hand side base there. And 3 more Mutas on the way. Oh, he actually never got Zerg Flyer attacks level 2. He was just level 1.
Oh dear.
So he went for +3 carapace. Interesting.
37 Mutalisks. It's getting beyond the realms of contention now. It's looking a bit difficult. Very difficult. The Stalkers are going to come in for this fight as well, though. The Phoenix are right in the thick of things, and they're all plummeting, as that is very difficult to deal with. Nerchio gets himself the win on the board, and we'll take game number 3.
Just a hiccup for Harstem, perhaps, or maybe the start of a great comeback here by Nerchio, using, I guess, what he's always been best at, making Mutas and base trading. Everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, KLRs.
That's true. You've really hit the nail on the head. Like, whenever we do see Nerchio get into these situations, more often than not, he has the good reads. He has the ability to actually shut his opponents down and set up a really great economy whilst he's doing it as well.
The thing is, when you want to use that style, you kind of, I want to say you want to be able to propel yourself in the mid-game with a lead, which in this game is finally the first time that he got it. Getting it 2 more games in a row there against Harstem is going to be really hard. Yeah. Especially since Harstem this time, he's going to have his guard up against this kind of, Zergling rush. Might even just open Forge and Scout, even though I don't think so. So going to be interesting to see how Harstem this time around, he walls off around his natural. Because even though he had the great defense in the start, that was a really awkward way to head into the mid-game for him here. He had some cannons around his natural. He had his cybercore walling off the right-hand side. Like, it was a bit weird. Yeah. And in the end, Nerchio, he was definitely able to go into Mutas a lot more comfortably this time than any time before.
And map number 4 being Cactus Valley. Is there opportunity for Nerchio to do something similar here?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. This is definitely one of the better maps as well to do this, because if you just played standard, like I said before, Ling and roaches, and you make sure that you defend whatever is being thrown at you, and then you go into Spire, I feel like it's one of the better maps to pull it off. Then again, there is also, around the 3rd base in particular, places where force fielding can be very strong. So I feel like if Nerchio wants to go into that, he's kind of going to have to be greedy in the starts, because you want to have that 3rd hatch up very quickly. Yeah. So that you can creep spread, because then when you get attacked, it's very hard for Protoss to actually step on creep and, like, fight properly, You start stepping on creep, Zerg has the vision, they can get good engagements, they can come in from behind. So the initial build orders, again, going to be very important from both players, and I really wonder how on his guard Harstem will be, and if Nerchio might try something, because 4 players map, he does a similar build to this, and Harstem does the same thing as last time. Maybe this time Nerchio gets a lot of links and busts the natural, because like I said in the previous map, he was going to have speed pretty quickly. He stopped links after what, like 10? If he had gone into, let's say, like 20 links, against 1 cannon, 3 zealots, he gets the full surround, kills them. Yeah. Game is over. There is no mothership core on the way. There was no second cannon. Like the natural's dead, all the units are dead. He moves up the ramp, does a bunch of damage, and then Harstem is on one base for like, what, 10 minutes while Nerchio is taking the natural, the third base.
True.
It's over.
I've got to ask you, Todd, whilst we're waiting to get into Game 4 here, you've obviously, you know, been a prolific pro gamer in the past. In a situation like Nerchio's here, where he hasn't been in Premier for 2 seasons or so now here in 2015. If he was to be able to push himself to Premier here in the 3rd season, after not having the hottest of years, what would that do for Nerchio? Because at the moment, it's not been the best year.
Yeah, I think he'd be pretty happy, obviously. You know, anybody that makes it to Premier, you can go on their Twitter and you're going to see like a yes. Like they're going to be super happy.
Yeah.
With like 15 S at least. Yes.
At least.
So it definitely would give him a lot of motivation as well to really try and come back a lot more on the scene, because he doesn't really partake in too many tournaments nowadays.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you make it to WCS Premier and you beat somebody like Harstem, you can definitely play in any tournament and have a good chance to do decent or well. So, hey, it might actually just change everything for him. He might just come back in the scene, you know, very strongly with a lot of confidence, which seemingly has been lacking quite a bit of in the recent times.
I mean, one thing's for sure is that WCS in general means a lot to these players.
Yes.
You see players that go into retirement but still play WCS because that's how much it means to these people.
Oh, you're looking at me like this.
I didn't look at you anyway. I think you did play. Okay, so let's get into it. Game number 4 here in our second. It's over. We'll
bring back the music.
Woo. Apparently the music was on the stream. Just
it was?
Apparently, yeah.
People had a great time, I'm sure.
I for that brief 10 seconds worth of time, I also had a fantastic moment. It was lovely. So on the flip side of things, obviously Nerchio, you know, we've spoken about his mentality going into this, what it would mean for him to go back into Premier, but Harstem. Let's look at Harstem now in a similar vein. Obviously, he has been in Premier a lot. Obviously, he is looking at this as almost a stepping stone because he believes that he should be in Premier. But getting into Premier, that's one part of the battle. Getting far in Premier is a big battle. How, as a pro gamer, do you deal with those really intense situations where you are in front of a live audience, in a round of 32 situation, where there have been falters, there have been disappointments for you in the past?
It's very difficult. I feel like at the end of the day, it always comes down to when you have a match like this, you forget about everything else. Like once the map loads up, all you're thinking about is like ZVP. The only world that exists to you is StarCraft. Because if you think about anything else, then you're getting distracted, and then you might not play your best. And Harstem, in this case, I do think that he knows that he's, you know, experienced enough and good enough to beat somebody like Nerchio if he plays his very best. So that's all he should be focusing on.
Would you say...
Even though recently he's had quite a bit of trouble. You know, he's lost in tournaments. He lost to Daishi at Home Story Cup.
Would you say Harstem's a very intense player in terms of getting into the game?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
He's always playing, you know, some horrible music, really trying to get into the moods. Weren't you the one that criticized his music choice at some point?
I can't remember what it was. I think it was One Direction.
Yeah.
We guessed it was One Direction, and then it was One Direction or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think it was at San Jose.
I think Roddy said like he's enjoying the beauty, and then you were like, hey, if he can find beauty in One Direction. So you made a joke.
Well, I don't think I've ever heard a One Direction song, so... But then again, I'm way out of touch with popular culture in general, so there you go. Popular culture. I don't know. All right, let's get into it. Game number 4. As I'm not going to dig myself any further into this. We have spawning up to the top right-hand corner. It is going to be our red Protoss representing Invasion Esports. It is going to be Harstem, 1 game away from Premier once again. And spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner, no doubt listening to death metal. It is our blue Zerg. It is Acer Nerchio.
Maybe he's listening to your favorite band, Baby Metal.
Baby Metal? I haven't listened to them for a while, actually.
The one time that I tried to listen to your music, that was that.
Oh, there's a new guy I should suggest to you. I think his name's Ladybeard. He's a Japanese artist. There you go. Listen to that one, Todd. You'll love it.
We're drifting away a little bit.
A tad. Yes.
Harstem, same pylon of the ramp. Look at this. If he goes for the same thing there, and Nerchio goes now into a gas and pull, it's going to be interesting to see the rematch, I guess, of that situation. But I don't think that Nerchio, so far, is looking like he might do the same thing. Might definitely be playing it a little bit more standard. Yeah, 15th drone there. Harstem on the other side, not going for the gateway yet. Going to be a Nexus first.
Oh, wow. Well, Nerchio just going for a spawning pool. That's so. Would there even be any realms of possibility here for Nerchio to be scared of something like a cannon rush? I mean, Harstem's not the guy that usually does those kinds of things, right?
There is a chance like he can go for that stuff, but a lot of the time you're not really going to expect it out of him, which maybe since he's down, you know, 2 maps and there's no room for mistakes, he wanted to play it a little bit safer, but
yeah.
I don't think it matters that much. You know, it's not like he's going to be behind by opening pole first there. He's going to be able to, you know, get his queen out earlier, start hitting those injects. He scouts Harstem first, but then Harstem, likewise, is going to be scouting him first. So both players, right from the start, they're going to know exactly where they stand.
Yeah, and obviously got the good heads up there, spotting the Overlord with the probe to know exactly where to go. So he is happy as houses as these Lings going to be moving on around and eventually trying to hunt down this probe, which would be quite the boon to them, quite the boon.
Remember what I told you, though. Harstem, if he wants to hit these timings with a lot of sentries and blink stalkers, I feel like as Nerchio here, you need to go into that third base very quickly because then you can start on creep spreading. Yeah. Especially if there is a 3 base with, you know, no blink, no +2, and no observers. That really would help them to have that. So in this case, look at this. Already sending out a drone. This time he's not going to go into a gas and speed before going into a third base. And I guess this is pretty good news here for Nerchio, but this is just a start. Those 4 links actually not going to be able to sneak in the main, but they might be able to be very annoying, I guess, around the natural.
Well, on the scale of 1 to cheeky, how cheeky is that third base Nerchio, of Nerchio's?
I'm just really not used of you being funny, guys.
Thanks. That's a great compliment to pay me. Cheers, buddy. Oh, dear me. It's your influence, Todd. You've been in the office for a little while now, so I absorb it like a sponge.
Yeah. Nerchio just going to be droning up. Drops down a single extractor. Oh, no, never mind. Double extractor trick. Yeah, usually Nerchio is the guy that drops down the double gas just before the 6 minutes, or around that time. And Harstem, again a sentry, so going to be playing very similarly. Does not want to do a, I guess, surprise target or anything like that, you know, which actually could have been really good. Yeah. Like you open so many games in a row with sentries and a third base, then the one time you actually go target, if you can make sure that it doesn't get scouted, you fly into your opponent's base with an Oracle. He's not going to have a spore. 545 double extractor there for Nerchio in the main.
And on a map like this, is it relatively difficult to get to the very back with an Overlord to actually scout out something like that if it were to occur?
Yeah. The thing is, when you do that, though, you have to go for a Stalkers rather than a Sentry, and that's already a big tell, because Harstem's been opening Sentry in every game.
He keeps seeing it as well. Keeps seeing it with the Overlord, so he's okay. Obviously, Nerchio's going to get himself that creep spray going. He's already got an active creep tumor from the natural. He's got one towards the third base as well, so eventually this can evolve quite nicely. As Harstem's just throwing down his double gases at the natural as well. And if that was spotted, Nerchio already does see one of them. He knows he's not in too much of a predicament right now.
Yeah, Harstem putting some good effort here into making sure that he starts shooting down any kind of Overlord that will fly into the main. That's pretty nice. The thing is Nerchio, though, droning up quite heavily. He's getting a spine for some reason.
Where is it?
It's like above his natural.
Oh,
I think he thinks he's already thinking that he's going to be attacked soon. Look at this. I talked about this a little bit and about how the creep spread was going to be important. And looked actually at how good it is, the creep spread right now.
Yeah. Spreading to the left, making sure that if any pylons were over there, and he will be shut down. Sees the base, though. Sees this.
Goes burrow already.
Ooh.
I'm not sure if that's I think it's defensive, but not always necessarily.
Unless he wants to flood with units and try and cancel the third base, then try and burrow.
The thing is, you get that with turning class, and surely he's going to be getting... Actually, do you think there's any chance he goes Glial... turning class before Glial Reconstitution and tries to go for the offense?
That'd be wild.
Harstem has been dropping down the Robo very, very late. So even though he's going to have a Forge, even if you have a Forge and a Cannon, as long as those Roaches can go into the main... Look at this, by the way. More gateways being dropped down in the main here for Harstem. This is the same build as map number 1, and Nerchio is already getting Burrow. This is going to be brilliant for him.
Yeah, he can shut this down quite easily. There's clear reconstitution on the way, but as long as he has Burrow, the defense is good.
Harstem is committing so much to this. He's going to stay on 46 probes there. He's going to be making a lot of units. But look at this, Nerchio already making a lot of roaches. Can Harstem recognize that right now Nerchio is already making units and that it will probably not be good to go for the attack? I don't think so. I think he's still going to go for it.
It looks like, oh, and he's going down the one path that actually is, creep is not there. So this could be a really good little move out for Harstem. But how well does this roach counterattack work?
I think ideally you would have liked to be fighting against the units. And actually Nerchio drone really hard behind it, so he doesn't have that much here right now.
He went for a wave of 12
Harstem's going to go back though. He doesn't know. Fully not knowing that Nerchio's not making units right now. He's going to go back, whereas if he had counter-attacked, he could have done so much damage and then recalled when he found that he was going to be in trouble.
And he has to realize now that burrow is an issue. This is going to just keep him pinned back for now. Surely he has to go back into probe production and try and make this third base work.
Yeah, 49 probes here to 66 drones.
But he's going to go.
I wouldn't be surprised if he dropped down a Spire here in a second.
This could be a disaster. No, Harstem's going. Harstem is actually pushing on forwards. He's not got that many Stalkers. That means he doesn't have that much DPS.
Oh.
And he burrows.
He force-fielded himself out.
There's nothing you can do.
Roaches in the natural there. There's a cannon on the way. Could get sniped very easily. Nerchio going for the probes. He's going to burrow as well. He's getting 12 more roaches.
Yeah, that cannon's helping
There's
out
no
quite a
robo.
lot.
And he has burrow.
Yeah, at the front, they're just going to stick around there and be a nuisance. Tunneling claws on the way as well.
Oh, Nerchio, this is just great here for him. He doesn't have that much gas yet because he took those kind of late, but now he's on 6 gases. And actually, rather than going for the obvious Spire, drops down double Evo and Infestation Pit. Harstem is definitely not going to be prepared.
No, this is going to be very, very difficult. Base over towards the left-hand side as well, so he can get extra gas geysers up and running. The Hallucinate Phoenix actually just saw the plans. He sees that there is a double evolution chamber as well as that infestation pit drop down. And there's still the aggression continuing on. He's trying to hold on all fronts whilst the robo facility finishes up.
I'm really surprised that he delayed the robo this long after seeing this, but Harstem now, he's got it about to finish. +2 is going to start. Pathogen Glance, and the same upgrades as we saw earlier on Coda there. Melee +1 and Missile +1. So Nerchio wants, I think, to play it similarly. You know, just add Infestors and then behind this go into Broodlords, I guess. But he had a Hydra Den back then.
Yeah, he did. You're right. You're right. So if you are...
There we go. Every time I said that.
Yeah, there you go. If you're Harstem in his shoes at the moment, like, how do you react to something like this? What's the best reaction as a Protoss when you're given all of this kind of information? What do you think?
I think he probably wants to go for a similar timing than what we saw before. And I don't mean the timing where he got fungled and had to recall. I mean pre-Infestors, ideally. Just try and move out, get some good force fields, especially on that 4th base. Like, if you can shut down the 4th base from a Zerg, you're going to be in a great position. And right now, he should be assuming that there is one. The shark attack, man.
Yeah.
Look at them. They get caught. And he's going to lose a bunch of them. Then Nerchio, he's been losing a lot of roaches for somebody who had burrow and who seemingly was going to be in a good position.
Let's take a look at resources lost. Pretty even, actually.
Warp Prism is out for Harstem.
More.
This attack here could be really strong. It's really going to come down to the Infestors, landing some good fungals, but even Roach count is very low.
18 Hydras are about to pop. And if they pop and they're able to get to this small concave location, then they are going to be able to mincemeat this army. It's going to be very, very difficult for Harstem to do much.
Mincemeat.
Sure, man. You can get them bashed.
There is a chance that Nerchio actually snipes the Mothership Core. But Harstem, assuming he reacts quickly enough. Oh, I really like the Ultra Cavern there. Harstem is being going very heavily into Stalkers, doesn't get many Immortals. This really could surprise him and do a lot of damage. And remember, since he's getting melee +1, he's going to have some upgrades here to work with. His nice fungal is going to land.
Yeah.
Going to force a recall there.
Yeah, he can't stick around. Cannot stick around. At the same time, though, he's doing quite a lot of damage in the main base with these Zealots. He's already killed off force of workers.
Oh my god.
And he now knows the follow-up plans. So Immortals started, Dark Templars are on the way, Storm +3. Everything that he can possibly throw is going to be on.
Spotting the Ultra Cavern here is a massive big deal because Harstem, he can go into a second, maybe even a 3rd robo, start pumping out a lot of Immortals. And he's got a Dark Shrine on the way. There's no Spore in the bases. This could do so much damage, guys. This is really worrying here for Nerchio. And look at this. He's even going to start working on a 4th base, which is going to be spotted pretty much immediately here by Nerchio.
Well, just wants to clear out the middle of the map. The creep spread at the beginning was nice, but the creep spread since has kind of, you know, subsided in the attention given to it. But the 4th base on the way to the top is almost certain and destined to die, unfortunately, for Harstem. Not really easy to be able to hold on to that without a really strong army. And now with Ultralisks about to enter the field here, Todd, is he going to have an opportunity to even get a 4th base up anytime soon?
It's going to be tough. He's going to have the army, I think, to defensively take it. Look at the Stalkers on the left-hand side, sneaking past. Oh, they're going to blink down. I thought they were going to go up the cliff there to try and shoot down these drones, but they're going to have to fight the spine there at first.
And they will kill that pretty quickly, actually. Well, with +2 weapons, do okay. And they survived. One survived. Wow.
Harstem is setting up for another War Prism attack. There is really not much in the main there. Just 3 Hydralisks.
Does he even have spores? Does he even...
No, he doesn't have any static defense anywhere.
Oh, okay. There's an Overseer just above this, though.
Except, I guess, the 3rd and 4th base. But the main and natural, they're naked, man.
Got himself 6.
Oh, the Prism almost got killed. But 1 DT got dropped down, and he's having some fun with those Hydralisks.
Okay, so mopping in more Overseers.
Oh, the attack on the left-hand side is massive. Ultra is going to be able to break these very important force fields.
Yeah, Guardian Shield goes up. I don't think he's really giving him full benefit of the doubt here, as he actually catches some Infestors. Oh, he caught a great couple of Infestors there, and Nerchio was not paying attention to it. War Prism is in the main base again, trying to put on some pressure. Eventually will be cleaned up. Likewise, the Dark Templar should be as well.
I'm really surprised that Nerchio is not the one engaging on the left-hand side there, because with a big fungal and with the Ultras at the front being able to cancel those force fields, he might have been able to get a really good engagement. The more he's waiting, the more Immortals that they're going to be. The thing is, he's counting on Broodlords to do the job here as well, once again.
And full onus in that left-hand side is on just 1 Infestor at all, because he lost the couple. So the Fungal's going to have to be really on point.
It's the world upside down, Karadarish. The Zerg's on 57 drones and Protoss on 74 probes.
Oop, that's the Fungal. He has another one available to him. That's a great one, but recalls on out of there. Doesn't want to fight. Will go back another day.
This time, Harstem being fully aware that there's going to be Broodlords very early. He gets double target, but no fleet beacon just yet there.
Starts +1 air weapons to get things rolling in that direction. And still just, I mean, Harstem does not want a straight-up engagement to happen just yet. He has to be buying time. That's why we're seeing the Warp Prism, even the Stalker to the left-hand side, that's managed to shut down a good chunk of the economy over there, actually.
Yeah, another Warp Prism is going to fly into the main, and Nerchio, I think he just wants to get a snipe on that Nexus ideally, but he might have to pull back before because Harstem's coming back with his entire army.
Committing a small amount to this, as you say, loses an Ultralisk for it, as the Zealots do get dropped into the main base. Doesn't quite see
There's a few links there. I'm really surprised that Harstem didn't go for the massive Warp-in, by the way, in the main, because there really wasn't that much ever, but now Nerchio sent his entire army back. The Stalker on the left-hand side, actually, funnily enough, sniped an Extractor all by itself.
Oh, well done, mate. And 5th base is actually under siege as well. He has to just back off a little bit there. Good Storm will start things off. He sees the Broodlords as well. Has to be a bit careful, but he gets the denial on the 5th. You know what? Harstem is actually playing a great game at limiting Nerchio when I figured it would be the other way around, but oh boy, was I wrong.
He's getting Void Rays now. So not quite the Tempest that I'd call. He was going to start a Fleet Beacon, but then messed up the probe control in his main and didn't. And getting the other Warp Prism there. I like this. He needs to keep on applying some pressure with the Prism, I think.
Definitely, definitely. If he can just keep his opponent back kind of dancing and scrambling, it will be very, very good. Eventually, he's going to try that base.
That base is going to get cancelled here once again. Storm on top of the...
Good Storm, wow. Really good Storms.
And he keeps the High Templars alive every time.
Look how weak this entire army is. Uh-oh. The Broodlords. Okay. Phew. That was going to be close. Some of these Broodlords, he actually got one with Storms. Very rare you end up seeing this happen when that kind of army is facing off against one another, but his army is so weak right now because of the storms that hit.
He forgot that he has Burrow, I think.
Maybe,
Definitely regenerate these roaches there. I'll try and sack them. At least he's sending some in the middle of the map. There's some DTs and Zealots there to deal with this.
Harstem's played this out like a champ, really.
So far,
To get these bases up, to survive, to keep this pressure up as well, it's too
Oh, this army by Nerchio on the right-hand side. Stepping out of place. War Prism in the main here once again. There is nothing there this time, or even close. This could do a lot of damage. Oh, 2 Immortals.
Yeah.
I guess he figured the Roaches count is too low now to justify having this many Immortals, and there isn't that many Ultras either, so...
And once the Void Ray count gets going, then he should be in an alright spot. Of course, there are the Corruptors here to try and counter that themselves.
Where's that guy going?
One Immortal is on strike now, and he will pay.
He saw something in the distance.
Yeah, he's a magpie. He saw a shiny thing.
A hot dog.
Hot dog. All right, well, let's have a little bit of an attack over towards the left-hand side as well, and there is a Dark Templar there, but the Spore Crawler should be able to see that. Yeah,
there we go. Fleet Beacon is going to start now by Harstem. He's got quite a bit of a bank here building up already, even though he's been losing a lot of units and trading. 3 Immortals on the left-hand side. Look at that hit squad. I think he might even warp in a bunch of Zealots to try and get rid of that base. There is nothing nearby. This can do a lot of damage, especially like if Nerchio is going to have to send a lot of units to defend against this because it's a pretty massive force. Then Harstem might engage into the main army there.
Yeah, these +3 Zealots are going to slice through this like butter, and those Immortals also working on the hatchery straight away. Nerchio is losing valuable economy. That was his most important base. He had to keep this alive. He doesn't really have that many minerals left over. He needs to replenish it.
He's using the lack of mobility of this Broodlord so well.
Yeah. And these Roaches challenging on forwards. These 3 Immortals are actually doing quite a lot of damage here still. This is ridiculous. This is getting out of hand here for Nerchio. Harstem has taken a sizable supply advantage, and he is playing this out beautifully.
Yeah, he's going to be defended there eventually, but I mean, the damage has been done. Nerchio down to 52 drones, 67 probes. But Harstem, he's wasted his bank, by the way.
Proper mothership on the way as well.
Proper mothership.
Proper mothership, mate.
Harstem spent most of his bank, so even though he's got great income, he needs to be careful not to go too low here with this, because then replacing some very important units in his army is going to be difficult. But look at this, once again on the left-hand side there. He knows that the army of Nerchio is not going to be nearby. He scouts with hallucination and going to go for another snipe here on that base.
Yeah, denies this one, sees the base over to the 5th, but doesn't want to quite go in that far, otherwise he would be bottlenecked. And
actually, yeah, he might be trapped. There is no mothership with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's going for a proper mothership.
A proper mothership. And that's a lot of Corruptors as well. These Broodlords are very well protected. It's going to be up to the Storms to really kind of tear through those Corruptors very slowly. Very slowly. Of course, Void Rays, yeah, you can respect them, but that's still a lot of Corruptors.
You need to respect them.
The authority of the Corruptors is strong in this one.
Nerchio forgot he had a bunch of Roaches on the right-hand side there, but I don't even think it would matter that much. And Harstem, he spotted that extra base that was being attempted to be taken there by Nerchio. He wants to hit it, but the army is there, which means he's not on the left-hand side, and he's going to make sure with 3 Stalkers that it's not being retaken. Harstem in a fantastic position. He can just keep on expanding, make sure he doesn't even take a fight, but he might even be happy to take one, because he can replace his army. He's got quite a bit of big. 3 more Stargates.
Exactly. He's setting himself up for a beautiful transition. As long as the Storms hit, but look at this. We're already the separation here of the Corruptors, making sure that they don't all get hit by a Storm straight away. There's a lot of Storms still left over here, though, as he's got to be careful. He will walk into a few of them already. That's a big chunk of damage actually being done to these. If the Archons get underneath this as well, which they are doing, good Fungals are going to lock down the Void Rays, but at the same time, the Corruptors are completely evaporated. GG. Harstem takes the series 3-1. And that last game played out so well.
Yeah, really abused the fact that his Warlords, they are very, very slow, and even though, you know, you have Roaches and Hydralisks in defense that can move out a little bit faster, that distance between that first base of Nerchio, his spawning base, and that 4th one on the left-hand side, on the very far left, there's just such a distance that if you send a Warp Prism there, you can really use the warping that you have as Protoss to basically do a lot of damage, warp in a lot of units, make sure that there is always too much, and eventually you keep on expanding, your economy is always left untouched, and it's just too much. Really outplayed Nerchio, and he gets back in Premier League.
Yeah,
it's his year.
It is his year. He will continue on with his year after year after year, as he's looking to propel himself forwards now past the round of 32 and really make a good mark. Obviously, he has been in the round of 16 before, but Harstem aspires to greater things as one of the younger players here in the World Championship Series. And for Nerchio, commiserations. Unfortunately, he falls into a position where he has been in 3 times Challenger this year and 3 times unsuccessful. But one thing's for sure, I imagine we'll definitely be seeing him in the future again.
Yeah, next year on Legacy of the Void.
Yeah, there you go.
Trying to make these lurkers work this time.
Yeah.
Roach into lurker, into Spire no matter what.
Keep going Spire, man. Keep going Spire. All right, well, that does it for series number 3, ladies and gents. We are going to go to a short break, but don't go anywhere, because when we're back, we're going to have our final series of the night, and we're going to figure out who is going to be the final player going into Premier. It's either going to be Firecake or Zanster.